Hey, my name's Emiko, and I'm using this app Explain Everything in my English 10 class at Oak Bay High School. In this class, we have been learning all about the play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare and his life growing up to be the famous poet and author he is known as today. For this project, I had to choose a significant passage in the play and talk about its importance. For instance, an important passage occurs just before the balcony scene, where Juliet speaks of her undeniable love for the young Romeo Montague, giving the main reason why their love is forbidden. There are many layers that create Shakespeare's play, so sit back and relax as I unravel Romeo and Juliet. Shakespeare was born on the 23rd of April of 1564 and died on the 23rd of April in 1616, which was his 52nd birthday. His parents were John and Mary Shakespeare. He had 7 siblings, Joan, Margaret, Gilbert, another Joan, Anne, Richard, and Edmund, and they all lived at the family home in Stratford, or New Place, which was the second largest in the town. At the age of 18, Shakespeare married a pregnant Anne Hathaway, who was 26 at the time. Together they had 3 children, Hamlet, Susanna, and Judith. And although he had children, he has no descendants today, because Elizabeth, the daughter of Susanna, died childless. Shakespeare was an actor as well as an author and poet. An example of this is when he played the ghost in Hamlet. He wrote at least 37 plays, 154 sonnets, a great number of poems, lost plays, and others that he collaborated on. All in all, he wrote an average of 1.5 plays a year, as he first started writing in 1589. Shakespeare was a very talented man, but not all of his ideas were original. He used many sources while writing, including the Bible, Ovid's Metamorphoses, Plutarch's Lives of the Noble Grecians and Romans, and Holinshed's Chronicles of England, Scotland, and Ireland. There were also several issues with Shakespeare. For one, his vocabulary was over twice that of the average university student, at around 29,000 words. Secondly, his writing was meant to be performed, so simply reading his work was a lot more difficult to understand. Also, his words have changed meaning over time. Lastly, being a poet, he used many different literary devices, which meant that not everybody understood what he was saying at all times. Of course, none of this can take away from the fact that Shakespeare was amazing at what he did. His continuous success at the Globe Theatre, where he performed his plays, led him being the timeless man he is known as today. The 3 reasons for this is the communicative power of the language that he used, the printing press, which came out around his time, made the written word more widely available, and finally, education became more common and therefore literacy increased. When Shakespeare died, he gave his property to his daughter Susanna, and to his wife he gave his second best bed and furniture. Something you may not know, however, is that when he did die, he put a curse on his grave so that it may be his final resting place. That curse read, "Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear, to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones." And today his remains are still undisturbed. The play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare is a romantic yet tragic story of forbidden love. The lovers, Romeo and Juliet, come from 2 enemy households with an unyielding rivalry. Because of this, their fear of not being accepted together forces them to keep their love a secret, which leads to none other than their own death. There are various passages of the play that show the significance of the theme of torn love, such as lines 38 to 49 in the second scene of Act 2. This is the passage that I chose to analyze. Romeo and Juliet first meet at the Capulet party that occurs at the beginning of the play. Shortly after they meet, the passage is spoken by Juliet. Although her words were directed to no one in particular, they were in form of soliloquy, so they still had meaning in them. Juliet complains about Romeo's name, that were he not a Montague, their love would be accepted. She used comparison to express her opinion of the unimportance of a name. It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. Juliet also compares the value of a name to a rose. That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. This passage is very important to the play because it represents the main conflict, the feud between the families. Despite understanding the quarrels, Romeo and Juliet hope to love each other peacefully and maintain that hope until one of them appears to be dead. Even after that, they hope to love each other from the grave, for the names are what separate them. It is also possible that their willingness to die in order to share their love is a result of not having enough love between the members of each family, especially in Juliet's case. This passage definitely shows just how vital it is to have acceptance amongst those who you hold dear. Romeo and Juliet is definitely a memorable story. It is layered with meanings, interpretations, and lessons that apply to everyone in the present, as shown in Juliet's passage of the second scene in Act 2. In her eyes, people should not be separated because of their names, but rather rewarded for their efforts in trying to be together. Although the love was tragic and short-lived, it was mutual and true, which is critical for a strong relationship. Thanks so much for watching my presentation on Romeo and Juliet. I hope you enjoyed.